Apple is about to charge you $2,000 with a phone with no telephoto camera, no Face ID, and memory you can never upgrade, soldered to a chip by a company whose CEO just announced he is leaving the same month it ships. They're calling it Ultra. That word has a definition. This is not it. This is not about whether Apple makes good products. They do. This is about the gap between what Apple says and what Apple does. That gap has a dollar value, and by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what it is. The Ultra lie. Start with the iPhone Ultra, September 2026. Expected starting price of $1,999. Some analysts project $2,399 for the top storage tier. That would make it more than twice the price of the current iPhone Pro Max. For that price, here's what you are getting that you do not get on a cheaper iPhone. A foldable form factor, a 7.7 to 7.8 inch inner display, a 5.3 to 5.5 inch outer display, a titanium hinge engineered to minimize the crease that every other foldable phone has failed to solve. Genuinely impressive engineering. Here's what you are not getting. No telephoto camera. The optical zoom capability that's been standard on every iPhone Pro for years is absent from the most expensive iPhone Apple has ever made. The reason is space. The hinge mechanism leaves no room for the periscope lens assembly. Apple knows this. Apple is calling it Ultra anyway. No Face ID. The device is too thin to fit two separate Face ID sensor arrays, one for each screen. Apple's solution is Touch ID in the power button. Touch ID on a $2,000 phone, the same authentication method that was replaced on iPhones in 2017 because Face ID was considered the premium experience. The name Ultra implies the best of everything Apple makes. The product delivers the most expensive set of deliberate compromises Apple has ever shipped under that branding. Those compromises are not accidents. They are engineering trade-offs Apple made, priced at the top of their lineup and marketed with their highest-tier product name. Expert aside, Apple's Ultra branding was introduced with the M1 Ultra chip in 2022, a chip created by connecting two M1 dies using Apple's Ultra Fusion interconnect. In that context, Ultra meant a measurable doubling of performance. Applying the same brand name to a product that removes features present in cheaper models redefines what Ultra means. That redefinition is a marketing decision, not an engineering one. The soldered memory trap. Now for the Mac side of this. In March 2026, Apple launched the MacBook Neo, starting at $499 for students, the most affordable Mac in years. iFixit tore it down and gave it a repairability score of 6 out of 10. Their words, the most repairable Mac since 2014. Apple's marketing leaned into this. Progress, repairability, we hear you. Here's what the 6 out of 10 score means in practice. The battery is screw-mounted, the keyboard is replaceable, the camera module swaps out. These are real improvements. They are also the easy ones. The RAM is soldered to the SoC. It cannot be upgraded, it cannot be replaced. The 8 GB of memory that ships in the base MacBook Neo is the 8 GB of memory that will be in that machine until it dies. On a computer, Apple is positioning as capable of running local AI workloads. 6 out of 10. On a consumer laptop in 2026. That is not a win. That is a confession that 4 points of repairability, the parts that matter most for longevity and value, are still locked away.
Here is where it gets worse. On April 30, 2026, Apple CEO Tim Cook confirmed on an earnings call that Apple is facing significantly higher memory costs due to global supply constraints driven by AI server demand. Cook said the impact would get worse through the year and that Apple was evaluating a range of options. A range of options on soldered memory in a product line where the customer cannot upgrade after purchase. One top-rated comment on the Mac Rumors forum thread about that earnings call read, "RAOF equals 8 gigs are back, baby." That comment has over 10 upvotes from Apple's own enthusiast community. Apple's most loyal users know exactly what that phrase means. It means the base RAM will drop, the price will not, and there is nothing you can do about it because the memory is glued to the chip. Expert aside, Unified Memory Architecture, UMA, is the technical framework behind Apple Silicon's memory design. By integrating RAM directly onto the SoC die, Apple achieves significantly higher memory bandwidth than traditional discrete RAM configurations. The M4 Pro achieves up to 273 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth, compared to roughly 50 to 80 for equivalent Intel or AMD systems. The performance benefit is real. The trade-off is that the memory tier you buy at purchase is the memory tier you have forever. Apple does not disclose this trade-off in product marketing. They emphasize the bandwidth, they do not mention the permanence. The Apple Intelligence Privacy Theater. Apple Intelligence, announced at WWDC 2024, marketed throughout 2025 and 2026 as the AI that is different, private, on-device. Your data stays on your device. Apple cannot see it. Nobody can. That framing is carefully constructed and partially true. The key word is partially. On-device processing is real for basic Apple Intelligence features. Summarization, writing tools, photo cleanup, priority notifications, these run locally on the neural engine. Your data does not leave your device for those functions. Apple is not lying about this. Apple's most capable Apple Intelligence features, the ones they demonstrate most prominently in advertisements, the ones that generate the most user interest, route through private cloud compute, Apple's own server infrastructure. Your request leaves your device, is processed on Apple's servers, and the result is returned to you. Apple's position is that PCC is architecturally private, that requests are processed without Apple being able to access them, and that independent security researchers can verify the system's integrity. This may well be true. The architecture is designed with privacy in mind. What is not prominent in Apple's marketing, that full access to private cloud compute features requires an iCloud Plus subscription. The private AI Apple spent 2 years marketing as a core iPhone feature is paywalled at the capability level most users will actually want to use. On-device AI and fully local AI are not the same thing. Free-tier Apple Intelligence and full Apple Intelligence are not the same thing. The marketing does not draw that distinction clearly. Expert aside, Apple's private cloud compute uses Apple Silicon server nodes running a hardened operating system. Apple states that user data is never retained after the request is fulfilled, and that third-party security auditors can inspect the system. The privacy architecture is more thoughtful than most cloud AI implementations. The issue is not whether PCC is private, it likely is. The issue is that on-device AI implies no server processing at all, and Apple's marketing has consistently implied this for features that require cloud infrastructure. The iCloud Plus paywall for full functionality was disclosed in fine print, not in the keynote. The repair economy. MacBook repairability scores from iFixit across recent history tell a consistent story. MacBook Pros from 2019 to 2023 scored between 1 and 4 out of 10. The MacBook Air M2 scored 4. The MacBook Neo at 6 is a genuine improvement, but the industry baseline for repairability on consumer laptops sits between 6 and 8 for most Windows manufacturers. Framework, a company that exists specifically to challenge Apple's repairability record, scores 10 out of 10. Dell's XPS line scores 7. Lenovo ThinkPads score 8. Apple's most repairable Mac since 2014 is competitive with a Dell. It is 2 points below a Lenovo. It is 4 points below a laptop built entirely around the premise that your hardware should last a decade. The practical cost of Apple's repair architecture is not theoretical. A RAM upgrade on any Windows laptop, the kind that would cost between $30 and $80 in parts and 30 minutes of time, does not exist as an option on any current MacBook. A screen replacement on a MacBook Pro requires Apple's own service chain, runs between $300 and $600, and in many cases results in Apple replacing the entire top case assembly because the components are paired to each other in ways that prevent independent repair. A battery replacement outside Apple's service chain can trigger software warnings about battery health that persist regardless of the physical condition of the replacement battery.
These are not accidents of engineering. They are outcomes of deliberate design decisions. Apple has filed patents specifically covering pairing mechanisms between components. The repairability score is not a side effect, it is a product strategy. Expert aside, Apple's self-repair program, launched in 2022, allows consumers to rent Apple's own repair tools and purchase genuine Apple parts to perform their own repairs on certain devices. The program covers screens, batteries, and cameras on select iPhone models and some MacBooks. The tool rental kit weighs 79 pounds. The parts are priced at or above Apple Store service prices in most cases. The program exists. Its practical accessibility for the average consumer is limited. The subscription stack. Here's the 4-year cost of owning Apple hardware that the product page does not calculate for you. iCloud Plus, required for full Apple Intelligence features, including the most capable private cloud compute functions. The 50GB tier is 99 cents per month. The 200GB tier, the practical minimum for most iPhone users with photo libraries, is $299 per month. The 2TB tier is $999 per month. Over 4 years, that is between $47 and $480 depending on which tier you need, before any price increases. Apple One, the bundle that combines iCloud Plus, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, and Apple Fitness Plus. $19.95 a month for an individual, $25.95 a month for a family. Over 4 years, that is between $957 and $1,245 per household for services that did not exist 10 years ago and were not required to use Apple hardware 5 years ago. Apple Care Plus, optional but practically necessary given the repair costs described above, $9.99 to $14.99 per month depending on device. Over 4 years, between $480 and $720 on top of the device purchase price. The base MacBook Neo starts at $499. Add iCloud Plus at the 200GB tier, decline Apple One, add Apple Care Plus. Over 4 years, you have spent between $643 and $1,000 on top of the hardware on a $499 computer. The total cost of ownership for Apple's most affordable Mac is between $1,100 and $1,500 before you account for the accessories that do not come in the box. For the iPhone Ultra at $1,999 with the same subscription stack, 4-year total cost of ownership between $2,600 and $3,700 depending on your service tiers and coverage choices. These numbers are not hidden, they are just never added up for you in the same place. None of this means Apple makes bad products. The M-series chips deliver genuine performance at efficiency levels no x86 manufacturer has matched. The build quality on current MacBooks is exceptional. The iPhone camera system remains among the best in any smartphone category. The ecosystem integration, when you are fully inside it, is cohesive in ways that competitors have not replicated. The Ultra branding, without the list of what Ultra does not include. The products are real, the framing is managed. $2,000, no telephoto, no Face ID, soldered memory. CEO leaving in September. They're calling it Ultra. You now know what that word is worth. Subscribe. Sudo bit logic is just getting started.